Hey everybody, welcome to the Beingtall and Stevo Show. You can check us out on Instagram and YouTube at the Beingtall and Stevo Show. You can also email us at thebeingtallstevoshow@gmail.com. Thank you for listening and enjoy the podcast.
You gotta spend money to make money. And don't forget, it's the last thing I'll say on this real quick.
Yeah.
These guys are putting six figures or more down a day. Okay, all right.
The stars.
Okay. Well, Team Iceland is easily the best villain of all time in any movie. Hamilton the Babe?
Oh, for sure. Hamilton, Porter. They call him Ham.
The Weseloh and Stevo Show is brought to you by Face a Book. Put down your phone for 10 minutes and face a book. And also by TrashMattress.com. On a bag filled with trash, you'll fall asleep fast.
So everybody loves gambling, right? Or a lot of people do.
You mean like when someone bets the house on the ponies?
I do like to gamble.
Some people are good. Some people are, well, still gambling. So one thing I wanted to bring up today, and I want to definitely ask you because you're the prevalent gambler.
Wait, hey, come on.
I'm
come on now. Hey,
Occasional gambler.
Let's not get too out of control
Sorry.
This isn't a recovery effort.
Sorry.
Intervention.
You win a lot.
I don't know about that.
Baby needs a new pair of shoes.
If you didn't know, there's this thing called DFS, otherwise known as Daily Fantasy Sports. It's kind of a newer phenomenon, and it's basically the ability to play fantasy where you draft a team and all that stuff, but you can do it per day, and you're not locked into the players. You're just locked in for those matchups for that day, and you can strategically, off of a given salary cap, each player has a value, and you can pick the values and form a team within that salary cap, and then everybody has an equal chance to do so. And they use real numbers from real games. So I have a special guest who's also co-host.
That's me,
Stevo, who happens to be a daily fantasy player.
I dabble.
So I wanted to ask, which daily fantasy sites and platforms do you use? What are the differences?
All right. Well, I do play quite a bit for sure. Probably too much for my own good. I do kind of shuffle back and forth between DraftKings and FanDuel, the two kings of the business. I'm sure you guys see their ads all over the place.
Way too often.
I do favor FanDuel over DraftKings personally for a couple reasons. The biggest reason is on DraftKings, there's a lot more people on there, which in turn can turn into larger scale entries, and it all depends on what kind of style I'm playing. I like to play in the bigger tournaments, just to kick up the fun a little bit more.
Now, when you say big tournaments, how many people are we talking?
Well, it depends on the sport. Like I said, from the big football tournaments, you're getting 200 to 400,000 entries,
right?
Which is a lot.
Once a week, everybody goes crazy on the weekends.
Prize pools are big. It's a big draw. Basketball's, probably in the 100,000 to 150,000 range, depending on the time of the season. But FanDuel, you can cut all those in half or more. I know.
You mean the price for entry?
Well, just the price. Oh, I'll get there in a second. But as far as how many entries are actually in the tournament, how many entries there are. FanDuel, for instance, just to give you an example, like football this last weekend, the main tournament had 95,000 entries compared to DraftKings, which had, I think it's around, the Millionaire Maker has like 400,000 or something stupid in it, and it's like $20 to enter. So
it's expensive per lineup.
That's an expensive lottery for me.
Or like when someone plays too many scratchy lotteries.
And obviously, that's a big tournament that to win those things outright is damn near impossible. So I do it more for the fun, and obviously, if I win anything, it's more of a bonus.
So when you're setting your lineup, what do you like? What's the strategy? What are you looking for?
Well, my strategy it varies from person to person, I'm sure. And I've had success and I've had failures and all that kind of stuff. But I would say my biggest strategy would be you have this salary that you have to meet, right? And so you'll have scrubs that are really cheap and you'll have stars that are very expensive.
Yeah.
And then you'll have guys in between, right? Well, I feel like most of the time in these big tournaments, you have to find cheap guys that no one would think to use. Ownership-wise, you want to make sure the ownership levels are low.
Right.
And you have to, I call them diamonds in the rough. You know what I mean? You got to find some diamonds in the rough to go with you. Because everyone, in basketball, people are going to play LeBron all the time, right? They're going to play Luka. They're going to play all these guys all the time. So they're not sneaky picks. You have to find sneaky picks. Sometimes those guys can be expensive, though. I have used that strategy as well, where you could find expensive guys that no one thought would use because they're sticking with LeBron or sticking with Luka, and you can go that way too. It all depends on the games and the slates and the injuries. That's another big thing, is who's hurt, who's playing for them. There's a lot of research that goes into it, and I can tell you right now, if you don't plan on researching at all, you're not going to do well. I don't do this, but I've heard people look at the refs who are reffing the game beforehand.
Yeah,
they research the referees and their foul tendency calls, like how much they call fouls.
Or their personal bias against players.
Just to let you know, that's another one. You're playing against guys who research this shit. So if you're planning on just picking this stuff from your phone, sitting on your couch without looking at anything, don't expect to win shit.
Right.
So it's just not going to happen.
So you're looking at, like versus the other team for basketball, like how does this team defend point guards or defend each position? In football, team defense against the run or against the pass. So you have to look at that kind of stuff, right?
Yes, but I also say this. You can over-research.
Or analysis by paralysis.
Paralysis by analysis, correct. You can do that. Obviously, like I said, it's all about stacking the odds in your favor, right? So the numbers don't lie, okay? We all know that. And the best of the best are all math whizzes, okay? They've all developed their own models. They're software guys. They develop their Excel spreadsheets and their formulas, and they have their own optimizers, as we call them in the business. So you're going against minds that are mathematical. So numbers don't lie, but the human factor comes back into play when you overthink. So just because, for instance, one player playing against a shitty defense you're looking at the numbers right in front of you on your computer. It says that doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Right.
They could game plan for him. That's another thing. They could watch film. They could double team him for whatever it is. If it's a baseball, for instance, they could walk him, pitch around him.
And along those lines, anyway, is what if somebody's 0 for 12 lifetime in baseball against a pitcher, and then they go 4 for 4 that day?
I don't even. Here's the thing. That statistic is called batter versus pitcher. Okay, so you can look that up. You can look up what he's done against this pitcher in his lifetime. I have a rule of thumb in baseball: if they don't even have 50 at bats, I don't even look at it. Okay, because it just doesn't.
It's not enough sample size.
Unless something sticks out. Okay, if this guy's like
5 for
9 of 10 or like 7 of 10 with 4 home runs, then maybe I might dabble in that.
Right.
Okay, but I've lost more than I've won when I stick to those kinds of numbers. Now, obviously, we're talking about baseball. Baseball is very hard to predict. The hardest
by far.
The hardest sport to predict. Football is just as hard and people don't realize that. People think football is one of the easier ones, but it's not, because they game plan for a whole week on what they're going to do, and you have no idea how they're going to do that.
And every matchup is different every week.
Exactly. Weather, elements, injuries. A cornerback can go down, like when he's supposed to be. Let's say your receiver's going up against the number one corner. That corner goes down, and you didn't take that receiver. Well, now the backup's on him.
Oh, yeah.
Now he goes off.
Right.
How are you supposed to predict that? You can't. And injuries in football are dime a dozen, man. They happen all the time.
Right.
So it's just gambling. It's gambling.
It
you
is
know
gambling,
what I mean? You just don't know. You think you have control, but you don't. And the bottom line is if you have you have to have money to make money. Okay, capital is huge when you're playing these big tournaments. I mean,
right. So if you got 2 lineups against a guy that has 100 lineups, you got to be right. You got to be perfect.
Yeah. Not only does this guy have 100 lineups, he's doing it mathematically by formula. That he has his own formula drawn up. So I mean, and he's using all these statistical numbers that we just mentioned that no one would ever think about in his model. So he's got the edge. He's got a big edge over you. Doesn't mean you can't beat him per se, but it's just his edge is always going to be ahead, and it's a numbers game. Gambling is always a numbers game, and it's all about keeping your head above water, right? So he may not win today, but he might win tomorrow. You know what I mean? So it's as long as he keeps his head above water, you're in good shape. So I guess what my recommendation is if you like to play and you don't really care about how much money you win, I would keep the game small, play some head-to-heads, play some 10-mans, play a 100-man, play some single-entry tournaments, which they offer.
I think single entry is the most, it's all, I think it's partially rigged, who knows, but single entry is the most fair. Everybody gets 1 entry. That's all you get. You can't enter 100 lineups and pick every player that in the book. You get 1 lineup per person. Whoever does the best wins.
Let me say something about the rigged section here, because we might have some people that...
Hold on. Do you agree with that? Single entry is the most fair way of doing it?
Okay, hold on. Let me get to that. Okay. Fair is a weird word here. It's kind of like the way the rules are set up. There's nothing unfair about what these sharks are doing. Okay. If I had the money, I would do the same thing. Okay. Just because they can put in a lot of lineups doesn't mean that it's not fair. You could use the word rigged if you want. It's rigged into their favor, but it's not rigged. Okay. So they're not cheating in any way. The rules allow them to put 150 lineups into each tournament on FanDuel, for instance.
Right.
There's no cheating there. If I had the capital to put 150 lineups into a tournament, I would do it right now. So it's not about that. It's rigged in their favor though, because you play a 2-game slate. I'll give you an example. Basketball, 2-game slate. 2 games. How many basketball players play during a game?
Let's say there's at most 10 a game probably. So you're picking through 40 players.
That's it. Okay, that's a very low amount.
4 teams, 10 players.
Very, very low amount. Is if you were to do a full night slate of 10 games, that number goes up exponentially, right? If you're putting 150 lineups into a 2-game slate with 40-player pool, how do you miss?
Right, so there's less skill involved when you put a bunch of lineups.
Sure, there is, but you can't fault them for doing that.
Right, if they're going to allow it, then you can.
That's what I'm saying. So if you're going to be mad at someone, be mad at the websites. But the problem is they make money off of these guys. They make a ton of money off the sharks. Okay, so they increase the prize pools, they increase the entries, they increase the rake. Okay, so it's a business. If you don't like that, which is fair, I hate it. Props to Chipotle Attic and Big Papa Gates and Osimo and all those guys that are up top. I mean, props to them for getting to where they are. But I hate seeing their fucking names at the top every goddamn night. It pisses me off more than anything else. But I have the option to downsize my game. I can go down to a single entry tournament, which they're probably in, but they only get 1 entry, which, like you said, is a lot more fair, to use your word. And try it out. Mess with that. You know what I like to do? I try to split it up. And this is called bankroll management, just like in poker or anything like that. I do some cash game, I do some single entry, and then I'll spread a little bit out on the big tournaments, just so I can get a little piece of everything.
Sure.
And that's usually where I'm most happy and most successful. If I just keep playing the huge tournaments over and over again, and I'm only putting in 2 to 4 lineups, I mean, it all varies on depending on what's going on, but I'm not going to get anywhere. I just not. It's just not enough to. It's greed, though. It all comes down to greed, Brett. It's because people see the prize pools. People see the guaranteed $50,000 for first place.
Or $100,000.
I can make $100,000 in less than 6 hours, 8 hours, just from sitting on my fucking couch.
It's like winning the lotto,
right? And that's the draw. That's the draw. But people don't want to go down. And I was guilty of this early on, for sure. Did not want to jump down to the small games because I was like, I want all that money now. I want it now. Well, that's not smart gambling. Okay. That's not good bankroll management. There's a difference between gambling and smart gambling. And I think people can do better and stop complaining. There's a lot of complaining going around about these big sharks, but they would do the same fucking thing if they were in that position.
Right.
So I think they should stop complaining, figure it out, get to a good place where they can get into the same spot that they are. And guess what, guys? It's called gambling. So you may have to gamble more money than you want. Now, I'm not advocating going out there and spending your life savings and any of that shit. Don't do that. Be smart.
You got to spend money to make money.
You got to spend money to make money. And don't forget, it's the last thing I'm going to say on this real quick.
Yeah.
These guys are putting 6 figures or more down a day. Okay. They play on all the sites. All those sites, Fantasy Aces, Fantasy Draft, DraftKings, FanDuel. There's Yahoo Fantasy they have DFS now. They're playing on all of them all day, max entering out all the tournaments. Okay, they're playing the 1-on-1s. They're playing the 10-mans, the expensive ones, the $5,300 entries. Like they're playing the $1,000 entries. They're putting down millions of dollars, 6 figures, millions of dollars every day gambling.
It's a lot.
Okay, and I'm sure their hearts are about to explode at this point. Now, I would have to imagine they have very little social life and very little relationships. And I'm just guessing here. I'm speculating, of course. But it would be very hard to maintain those things with the amount of time and effort that they put in to this profession, because this is what they do for a living. So that's what you're going up against in those big tournaments, just to let you know. And if you don't want to, downsize your game, be smart, get to know how to play, learn how to research. If you don't have time to research, don't plan on making a ton of money. It ain't gonna happen. I hate to burst your bubble, but you'd have to be so lucky.
Don't we all, Steve-O? On that note, let's take a short musical break.
Welcome back, guys. Brett, you're pretty tall, aren't you?
Yeah, I'd say I'm above average.
Tell me about it.
Well, I mean,
How's the weather up there?
I'm 6'7", borderline 6'8" with shoes on.
Borderline. We'll call you 6'8".
Okay, we'll be 6'8".
Yeah, 6'8".
What can I tell you? There's good days and bad days.
Yeah,
being
let
tall.
me hear some pros. Where's some pros of being
Pros,
6'8"?
around the holidays, I'm in the kitchen. Somebody needs me to grab something. I can get it. Pretty easy. That's what I'm there for.
Okay.
Some of my friends asked, it's a tradition. I'm the only one that can put the star on the top of the Christmas
You're
tree.
the only
I'm
one.
the only one. I need a step stool. I'm not that tall.
No, wait a second. Your family's pretty tall too, right? Don't you come from tall family, tall parents or anything like that?
Yes.
How tall
I
are your
do.
parents?
Dad's 6'4", my mom's like 5'10". So
Okay, they're pretty tall.
Yeah, tall
Pretty
people.
tall, okay.
But I shot up to 6'7" junior year of high school, so
Yeah, you've always been pretty tall.
I have been. Yes, you would remember.
But what about when it comes to sports? I'm sure that helps.
Of course, man. Basketball and baseball. I mean, definitely. It's sports. Basketball is definitely a height sport for the most part, so it definitely helps.
I do remember you being more of a shooter
I
than
was.
a dunker.
Yes, you could call me a stretch 4 or 5, if you will, in this new NBA.
Although, if you think about it, it's wild. 6'7", 6'8" is actually not too tall for like basketball.
Right.
Like in the NBA, that'd be almost like a short height,
Yeah, it'd be like a 2 or a 3.
an average height,
Yeah.
I would say. How tall is LeBron?
He's like 6'8",
6'8",
also.
yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. All right.
But I'm not as athletic as him.
You
so-
sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah. He barely got me.
Oh, okay. Well, you still look like him, so that's good.
Thank you. Still don't understand that one. I'm white, but okay. Well, that'll be another day.
All right. What's some more pros?
Pros, let's see. I think generally, I don't have to really ask for a lot of attention. I just kind of get it from people sometimes.
What do you mean by that?
I don't do anything. I just smile and people look at me,
You know what? I do have a story for this. One time, me and Brett were eating lunch one time. I think it was a sushi bar.
I think it was.
And 2 younger guys came over while we're eating and straight up said, "Settle a bet for me. How tall are you?" Right in the middle of his meal.
Like I'm some zoo animal that escaped. It's like they'd never seen someone over 6 feet before. I'm not a 7-footer. Like
Now-
I'm tall, but come on.
Granted, I'd never experienced this in my life. I'm 6 foot. So I'm nowhere near this height. And this blew me away, right? Brett, you proceeded to tell me that this happens all the time?
Not settling bets, but even I was there today. Perfect example in the grocery store. Right away, the guy goes, "Well, you must have played basketball somewhere."
No.
Literally, where did you play? I go,
Oh,
"All right. First of all, no, I didn't play basketball in college. I played baseball." "Oh, really? Where'd you play?" And then this is a con. I'll get to that.
Okay.
The conversation never ends when people start asking me questions like that, because then I got to go, "Oh, I played baseball." "Baseball? Why'd you play baseball? You look like you're a basketball player." "Well, I chose to play baseball as a better career option." "Oh, okay. You sure you didn't play basketball?" "Yeah, I'm sure." And then, "Oh, okay. Where'd you play baseball?" "All right, well, I played here." And then, "Okay, cool. And you played in the minors?" "Oh, really? Okay. What teams did you play for?" "Oh, great. What organizations?" "Oh, wow. Okay, cool. Do you know so-and-so?" And it's just ongoing. Here we go. So,
You guys said a lot.
yeah.
This was just today at the grocery
That
store.
was just today. I had it in line. I'm like, "Can I just pay for my stuff and go?"
If you had to put a number on it, how often does this happen in a month?
It's not once a day, but I'd say at least it's not once a day. It's a couple times a week.
Wow. And you're only 6'8". I mean, I say only because I guess I'm used to athletics and like basketball players.
Yeah.
That you're tall.
Right.
Obviously, you guys can't see Brett right this second, but he's
Yeah.
a very tall man.
Yeah. A large human.
Yeah. They call him the building,
That's one of my favorite nicknames.
a.k.a. Big Ticket, a.k.a. Stretch, a.k.a. Lurch, a.k.a. The Tree, a.k.a. Jolly Green Giant,
Yeah.
and of course, a.k.a. Biggin.
Yeah.
He's a big boy.
There's a lot of nicknames.
He's
here.
a big boy.
I'm skyscraping over everybody.
So, I mean, I guess I understand the curiosity part, but it's kind of rude, isn't it?
It gets annoying. Okay, I've dealt with it for a long time. I know it's not like a negative, but at the same time, it doesn't mean it's not annoying. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, I mean, who thinks they have the right to just come up and just start
hey,
asking
how
you?
tall are you? Yeah.
I mean, what if you were fat? You'd be like, wow, do you fit through doorways anymore? Just unbelievable. You must have a hard time getting out of your house.
The worst are like the cheesy ones, like, oh, how's the weather up there? But, dude, I'm like 6 inches taller than you. It's the same as you idiot. Like, it's just dumb. People are so, like...
What about like riding in airplanes and all that kind of
You can imagine.
jazz?
If I don't get exit row, it's going to be tough. It's going to be a little tight. So even like when I used to do the bus rides, it was horrible. Overnight in the buses and, it's cramped up. Like just, you can imagine.
Well, and you had other tall players there on the team, right?
Yeah. So sometimes we got to, spread out and pick a row and, put your feet on top of the seats and stuff.
Unbelievable.
I know. It wasn't glamorous, that's for sure.
Same with like in a car.
Cars, yeah. I try to, if people are nice, they let me get the front seat, or all the way in the back.
That'd be fucked up.
It would, right? Why would the 5'5" guy get
shotgun
the front?
shotgun on 5'5" shotgun?
It's like, even if you sat in the back, you don't need the front. You can be okay behind me.
I'd sit behind the driver's side and let you go all the way back.
Exactly, because you're a nice guy.
Well, I mean, that's debatable, but it just makes more sense to me.
Right. I'd say another con would be buying clothes, right? I can't, unless I go to my new favorite store, Destination XL. I can't just go to a department store and get clothes.
No.
Or shoes.
What size shoe do you wear?
15.
That's pretty big.
Unless I go to Nordstrom Rack.
You know
lucky.
You know what they say, ladies, about big shoes? Big socks.
That's right. I love socks.
He's a big sock guy.
Oh, yeah. Stance, preferably.
Speaking of ladies,
yeah.
How does that work in the dating world?
I think it's a pro.
It's a pro more than it is a con, is what you're saying.
Yes, I think so. Generally, girls want taller guys, right?
Yeah, but you're not too tall.
No.
6'8's pretty tall.
It is. No, it definitely is. It's. I'm telling you, it's outside of the norm for people.
Yeah.
But somehow, the world wasn't built for tall people. I got to find my way. Everybody loves sports movies.
I do.
Steve does. We all do. And so we wanted to give you our favorite in our list of our top 5, but we'll have some honorable mentions mentions in there as well to see if you guys agree. Love to hear from you. We'll definitely want some comments on these. I'm sure everybody has differing opinions here.
No.
Oh, yes, they do.
No, come on. All right,
so let's go to you first.
You want me to start?
Steve-O,
okay.
What are your top 5 sports
You want me
movies?
to give all 5?
I would like you to give all 5.
All 5. In no specific order.
That's fine, because these are tough to rank.
Okay. All right. Major League.
Good one.
The Mighty Ducks, but I'm going to be specific here, although I love all 3 of them. D2 is my favorite.
Oh, good. I was hoping you said that.
D2 is my favorite. D3's up there. It's pretty good.
Okay.
No, it's good.
It's nowhere near 1 or 2.
You a stray cat? Be more fun for me if you ran. It's real good. Don't deny it. It's good.
It's not as good as 1 and 2. Sorry. We can get to that later.
God, terrible. Happy Gilmore.
Yes.
The Replacements.
I did write that one down as well.
Good. And of course, one of my favorite all-time movies, Little Giants.
Oh, wow. I forgot about that one. Of course. Great movie.
Real good.
Okay, I'll give you my
What you got? What you got for me?
I also put Sandlot.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sandlot's number 1.
I didn't touch Sandlot.
Right. I know. I'm surprised. That's fine. That was a piece of my childhood.
Yeah,
like, you know?
I love that movie too.
Okay, so Sandlot was number 1. Mighty Ducks 2, I have to say, is the best one by far. Woo, 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 Kenny Woo. Number 3, I put Happy Gilmore.
Stop copying me, dude.
Number 4,
keep your eyes on your own paper.
Any Given Sunday.
Ooh.
And number 5, Tin Cup.
That's a good one. Jeff loves that one.
Right?
That's a good one.
Jeff is a random brother we reference every once in a while.
He may or may not exist. We're not really sure.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk about Major League.
I mean, iconic.
Yeah, it really is. Really is. Baseball movie, which is huge. It's actually one of the first movies I ever saw that had cussing in it.
Oh, okay.
I do remember this little quick story here. My parents brought us to Blockbuster, if you're old enough to remember what Blockbuster is. And we rented a movie, and it was Major League. At this point, my parents had never seen it.
Oh.
And I can't be older than 10.
Yeah.
Maybe younger than that. And I don't think they were aware of what's going on in that movie. But yeah, needless to say, they turned it off in probably 20 minutes. And but back to the movie, obviously really good. Great characters. Bob Uecker, the announcer, he still announces for the Brewers to this day.
He does.
And I wish he announced my games for sure. It'll be a sad day when he finally passes. But, definitely one of those movies that I loved, and I can watch forever. I can watch it.
Oh,
I just watched it the other day. It's awesome.
Exactly.
So good.
1, 2, and Major League Back to the Minors.
Oh boy.
Downtown Anderson.
Go Buzz.
Back to Sandlot. To me, that movie like summarized growing up playing baseball outside, like just having like with your friends and like
Sure.
doing weird, funny stuff growing up, and like every personality was there, you know. So you kind of got a sense of all these kids, and it's a very like it's a cool story. It's a
Who's
funny
your
movie.
favorite character?
You're killing me, Smalls.
Hamilton the Babe.
Oh, for sure. Hamilton Porter. They call him Ham.
Hey, you want some more? Some more what? Shut up! You're killing me, Smalls.
He was also in another movie called The Big Green, where he was the goalie. Wait till I give you my honorable mention, by the way. So
Is the Big Green an honorable mention? The soccer movie?
I didn't write it down. It could be, though.
With alfalfa? Okay.
Yeah, Sandlot
all right.
to me was like that movie that was very cool.
Yeah, it's definitely a childhood.
Oh, yeah.
Childhood movie for
Yeah.
okay. All right.
Just going outside playing like over the line or just, you know, whatever.
And the Beast.
The Beast.
The Beast. All right. Okay. Well, here's one that we shared. One of the many that we shared.
Yes.
The Mighty Ducks. We'll talk about D2 because
Okay.
that's the only one that really matters.
It's true.
It's the first one out of here. It's not that.
No, I agree. But I would think the first one's better than the third one. Third one, they're in high school. They're all Charlie Conway's a brat. He's a freaking
Dude, Paul Correa's in that movie.
no. Yeah, okay. Yeah, but in number 2, you got Mike Madonna.
Okay. All right.
The stars.
Okay. Well, Team Iceland is easily the best villain of all time in any movie.
Iceland.
Any movie. Team USA is going down. That's where it's going.
Wolf, the Dennis Stanton. That guy punched out his own coach.
So, if I had to pick a character though from that movie, that's a tough one. But I would probably say it's one of the Bash brothers.
I think there's only one you can pick here.
Oh, who's that?
The goalie.
Goldberg. Oh my God.
Wait, he
Goldberg.
passed it back to Goldberg. Wait, it's not Goldberg. It's Russ Tyler.
The knuckle puck.
You ain't ever heard of my knuckle puck?
No.
It's tough to it's tough to control, but it drives crazy.
All right.
Anyway, I also another icon. These are all iconic. All right, we're gonna keep saying that.
Well, we know that. That's
It's an iconic
We're
movie.
iconic people,
That's
so
right.
it's going to be
You got
iconic
that
movies.
right. My next one.
Yep.
We both agreed on this one. Happy Gilmore. I mean,
course.
is there a more like well put together, funny golf movie of like random characters? Bob Barker was in it.
The price is wrong, bitch.
Shooter McGavin's hilarious.
Christopher McDonald. The other day, there was two bikers having sex with each other in the woods. How am I supposed to chip with that going on? The thing about Adam Sandler movies is I like them, but there's only a few hits to me personally. And the sports movies tend to be the better hits. I feel like
I agree.
like The Water Boy,
That was honorable mention for me.
or the remake of The Longest Yard. I thought was
Yeah,
pretty good.
yeah.
I thought it was good.
I didn't think it was in my top 10 though of sports movies.
Now I don't. His new movie Uncut Gems is partly sports related, and it's supposed to be good.
Yeah, we need to see that.
We do need to see that,
Yeah.
but we'll see about that.
Yeah. But yeah, I put Waterboy. Also great. The one-liners, Steve and I are big on one-liners, so it's got gold in there.
Which one, The Water Boy?
Both Happy Gilmore and
Oh yeah.
right.
Oh yeah.
So, what else you got?
I got The Replacements.
I have it written down. Great movie. It's kind of like a the sappy
it's a
love
great
story. It's
movie.
awesome.
It's a
There's
great
a lot of
movie.
funny lines too. I thought Any Given Sunday was very creatively done. Like Jamie Foxx as the quarterback. They got Lawrence Taylor as the linebacker who saws Jamie Foxx's car in half at one point.
Yep.
There's a lot of
Don't
good,
drop me. I'm worth $1 million.
Al Pacino's got the famous speech at the end.
Cameron Diaz.
Cameron Diaz looks great.
Yeah, she does.
Was it Miss Pagnotti or Pagliacci?
I don't remember. I don't recall.
That's the
I don't
daughter.
recall.
No, that was a really cool movie.
Willie beaming,
I keep the ladies.
screaming. Little Giants.
I mean, what can you say?
If you haven't seen Little Giants, it's about two
about
brothers.
time.
Two brothers who both, one is a former Heisman winner. That would be Ed O'Neill. If you know who Ed O'Neill is, Married with Children.
Yes.
And his brother's a nerdy kid, Rick Moranis.
Correct. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, anyone?
Spaceballs, anyone? And so, and the younger kid obviously always wants to be cooler. or the younger brother, excuse me, wants to be cool.
Wants to hang out with the older
his
brother.
older brother, but it never worked out that way. So anyway, the older brother's got a youth football team going, the Cowboys.
Of course.
Yeah. And the Icebox is Rick Moranis' daughter, who's really good at football, yet she's not allowed to play because she's a woman.
Girl. And then she tries to be a cheerleader later on, but realizes she's a football player.
Hey, what's that cheerleader doing on the field? That's no cheerleader. That's my niece Becky. She's pissed. Anyway, yeah, she doesn't make the team because she's a woman, so they start their own team. Rick Moranis starts his own team, so it's basically Pop Warner battle here. And yeah, obviously lots of really, really good one-liners in there. Young actors that haven't really made. Devin Sawa, if y'all remember who Devin Sawa is, he plays quarterback. Junior Floyd.
He was in a couple other movies.
The guy who plays Spike, who is I guess you could say the villain in this movie.
Yeah.
Is I don't remember his name, but he's in Brink.
Val, I believe.
Yes, the guy who plays Val,
the bad guy in Team
Brink.
X-Blades against Pup and Suds.
Yeah,
Soul Skaters for life.
So Val, whatever his name is, I
think that's what it is.
You're right. No, I think you're right. But his actor name, like I don't know. His actor name.
Yeah.
Whatever his name is or whatever. He plays Spike. He's the fullback.
He's like everything. He's
running
like
back for the Cowboys, and he's the the villain. But
Spike.
If you haven't seen that movie,
Spike is in Pee Wee Hell.
Who's Spike's lead blocker? The Icebox. Where's he at? If you haven't seen that movie, please watch it.
Yes. Great. It's also Disney. It's cheesy, but it's
cheesy,
so funny. Though.
Oh, man, it's so good.
Yes.
Oh,
one time.
How did I do, Coach? I don't know, son. I don't have a sundial.
The annexation of Puerto Rico.
Bag of Cheetos. Crunchy or puffed? Puffed. Wimp. All right, what do you got?
My last top 5, movie number 5, Tin Cup.
All right.
Kevin Costner, by the way, is great at sports movies. He's had tons of them. He had Field of Dreams, right? He was in that.
Yep.
He had For the Love of the Game,
where
he threw a perfect game. Billy Chapel.
He wasn't in Bull Durham, was he?
Yes, he was in Bull Durham. He's the catcher.
Okay, yeah.
There's
a lot of stars in that movie.
That's honorable mention for me because that's a really if you don't know about the minor league lifestyle, Bull Durham is a great movie on kind of like the surface level insights of what minor league life is like. Mm-hmm. Staying with host families, in the middle of nowhere. He's breaking records. Nobody knows about it. He's been a lifelong catcher, and they're moving him around from different teams. So it's really good, and it's got some cool scenes in it.
It's a good one.
So that was Bull Durham. But anyway, Tin Cup. Great movie.
Tin Cup.
Kevin Costner is kind of a natural golfer anyway. He just looks like an athlete, right? Yeah. So, and Cheech Marin is his caddy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Renee Russo is the female love interest.
In her prime, too. And I think
Renee Russo had a prime?
Don Johnson, Miami Vice guy. Don Johnson's the semi-villain in that movie.
Gary McCord,
all the announcers.
No, that's a good one. Dude, they even have cameos.
Lee Trevino. Phil Mickelson.
God, I'm trying to remember.
The Walrus.
Yeah.
He's in it.
Yeah. All right.
Okay, I got a couple more.
All right, hit me with them.
This one's a very underrated one. Kicking and Screaming.
Oh my God.
Will Ferrell.
Oh my. Juice box guy. You're the juice box guy.
Take a lap.
Take a lap.
Great movie.
That is a good one.
Yeah.
I didn't think that one was coming out. I haven't seen that movie in a long
funny.
time. You know who's in that too? Is Alex Borstein. She's the woman who voices Lois Griffin on Family Guy, but she's the mom, dark-haired mom that takes his parking spot, if you remember that part.
Yeah.
Underrated
Very
actress.
Yeah,
by
for
the
sure.
Way. But love
good
that
call,
movie.
right?
Yeah. Oh, I love that movie.
It didn't get enough run during the 2000s.
I think because everyone was sick of Will Ferrell at that point.
Yeah, probably. He had run his course for sure. How about Beer League?
Beer League. I can't say that I have seen Beer League.
With Artie Lang? The dude's freaking Manganelli? The dude's in Jersey?
I know who Artie Lang is, but I don't know anything about Beer League.
Beer League is a softball movie about some dudes in Jersey that it's just a stupid men's softball league movie. It's pretty funny though.
Who else is in it? Or just Artie Lang?
It's him and some other older comedians, I think. It's hard. That's not like a group that I'm normally used to watching.
How old is that movie?
It's 90s.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Check it out, Beer League.
I don't know if I'm going to be checking that out.
It's funny. It's worth it. It's worth it. It's good. I have one more.
Okay.
Space Jam.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Everybody.
Are you ready for Space Jam 2?
No.
Because your favorite basketball player is in it?
Incorrect. Kobe did not star in that movie.
Kobe can't act.
No, he can't probably.
Who thinks that better actor, LeBron or Kobe?
On the court? Well, that'll do it. Thanks again for listening. You can hit us up on email at the Below Stevo Show, no and on Instagram and YouTube at the Below and Stevo Show. We'd love to hear your comments and questions. We can definitely answer those in the next episode. And if you say something stupid, we'll crush you on the other side. Today's show brought to you by no one.